Loyola is a bright light of hope. It allows us to address some of the lingering inequalities, the inequitable access to resources, and hopefully helps to train a new generation of leaders who come back to their communities, come back to St. Louis, dedicated to improving it even further.
Do me a favor, don't mess with nothing, okay? Stay away from the seat, both of you stay out of trouble, okay? Thank you, sir.
I think Loyola is important because we have an uneven distribution of resources, even in the 21st century, in terms of access to educational resources, access to economic resources. And Loyola is an attempt to address that by trying to provide support, trying to provide an education for young men who have the talent to succeed but may not have the resources.
Good morning, Carla. How are you? Got your Thursday folder, goes right up here.
A regular school day at Loyola begins with us arriving at 7:30 and we greet Miss Franklin after she opens the door for us. Then we'll get our IDs and go downstairs for breakfast. Breakfast usually lasts about 30 minutes or so, which is when we are supposed to be upstairs for assembly at 8 o'clock. Assembly lasts for 15 minutes and assembly consists of morning prayer, the Pledge of Allegiance, and either announcements from teachers. And then we'll just go back to our lockers and get our things for our first period classes. At Loyola Academy, we have summer sessions, which means when you first come in for 6th grade year, you have summer school before you even really start at the school. And this continues throughout the whole time that you go to Loyola Academy, even until your 8th grade year. Summer school is about 2 months. And then during the school year, we actually have 195 days of school. Loyola Academy is a school that's founded on the Society of Jesus, which is the Jesuits. So we have a lot of spiritual times, including religion class, which is included in one of our 7 classes. And then we have all school masses a lot. My mother has always taught me that growing up, like, faith without works is dead. So I think Loyola has both the works with all the school and the long days, and the faith is included in it. So I think it's exactly what we need.
So what an African proverb does is it makes things shorter. So like, hunger is felt by a slave and hunger is felt by a king. What do you think that means?
When slaves are hungry, that means they hungry for food. But when kings are hungry, they hungry for money.
You know what? That's actually a very good observation. That's actually something I hadn't thought of. So you're right.
I think they're being tremendously successful. The high school graduation rate for the city of St. Louis is around 60%, and our boys are graduating high school or have a high school equivalency over 95%. Many of them are going on to college, making strides that wouldn't be possible, and they're reporting that back to us without the kind of support and encouragement that they got at Loyola.
He who cannot dance will say, the drum is bad.
Me.
Oh, you already won. Go ahead.
I think it means
What?
like always take responsibility for your actions. That's us. That's us.
That's us.
What do you think
The Jesuit education I received at St. Louis University High School sticks with me to this day. I was reflecting on a theology class I had with a man named Mr. Shudo in my senior year of high school, and he kept coming back to this passage from the Gospel of Matthew about how we're going to be judged at the end of our lives. And the passage is essentially about, what did you do for other people? When you saw me naked, did you give me clothing? When you saw me in prison, did you come visit me? When I was sick, did you help me out? And that has been a guiding principle for how I think about my ultimate purpose. And it's certainly a guiding philosophy and a way of life.
Chapter 4. We will review our homework from Monday. We'll review that right after we finish reading. What is different from Ellen and the other characters? Think about what's going on. We talked about the historical context of this book. So what separates Ellen from Anne Marie? What's one main difference? Bateman.
Well, Ellen is Jewish.
Okay, so we know that what happened recently in their town in Denmark.
In a sense of being an experiment, you didn't have a school like Loyola in the St. Louis area, especially not in the city. And so those relationships that the boys here are forming and have formed over the years, that was something new, but it was something that you nurtured. Just the way we're set up into houses, our houses, the 7 houses of Loyola, that alone they begin to form bonds that early, in those early stages, and those bonds continue. So they're not only part of the larger Loyola family, but they're also part of that smaller group.
So each house is basically built up of 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. Kind of give you a big brother, a big cousin that you always can get to know more than you could know the whole 8th grade class. You might not be able to get to know all the 8th graders, but you're going to know some 8th graders. And sometimes that transitions into one 8th grader might be, man, this little guy here gets on my nerve. He's doing this. But the other be like, no, man, he's cool. Just, it kind of bring them together because he's in his house and his house pride. House thing really, really helps the young men get to know some of the guys that been through here, that been in the 7th grade, been through the 6th grade, so they can kind of help these guys along the way. Like, look, Mr. Bozdech does this. Mr. E, he teaches this way. So when you go in his class, you know can't do this. Ms. Jordan teaches this way. So you really want to have that advice, that big brother that can give you that advice you may need.
I would like to shine on Levon, who has not 1, but 2 gold slips on the board for volunteering to help his classmates open their lockers when they were having trouble. Well done, There's always something good that's happened.
I would like to shine on Alex for helping me with my homework.
Very good. Excellent.
We get to know the kids over the 3 years and the families as well. And when they come in, it's not like at a regular school where I have a kid for 6th grade and then he goes on to another teacher for 7th grade, or there's 1,000 kids in the school. We have 60 kids to take care of. And so we do get to know the families, and we know their ins and their outs. The more we know, the better we can help the guys succeed. You watch them come in the 6th grade year and they can't keep their shirt tails in, and by the time they leave as 8th graders, they're helping each other, and before they come around the corner, they'll hear a teacher's voice and they'll, hey, get your shirt tail tucked in. And so the 8th grade helped the 6th grade because they buy into the full program.
It gives them the support they need that I can't give them as a single parent. And it also helps me as a parent and gives me the support that I need in trying to raise them and build character and self-esteem and giving them the manhood training that I can't give them.
You have moms helping moms, which I love to see. Our parent group, when you see one mom step up and tell another mom, well, you know what, this is what worked with my son. You might want to try this. That's great. And that shows that not only is there that camaraderie among the boys, that feeling of family, but you're getting it among the parent too.
It's been fun. I can come and feel comfortable with them. And if there's something that I need, they will try to accommodate me as much as they can. They have been a great support to me. It's like family. They've always treated me very nice. And I could come here, and the teachers are always willing and ready with open arms.
The offenders really need to stay down here and guard their spots because the midi right here.
You score points by claiming these train routes. Okay, so Tay puts down 3 green trains from his hand, then he takes 3 of his red things and puts 1, 2, 3 on them, right?
Give me that place.
Okay, so then he would do that.
Boom, boom,
If there are, that's pretty simple. You also have certain goals you're trying to accomplish. Like you might get a card that says you need to connect Seattle to Miami somehow, okay?
How? Seattle is...
Over here, and there's Miami. Exactly, that's part of the game. How are you going to do it?
I enjoy being a male role model for boys and for young men. I know it goes back to my own upbringing. My mom was constantly seeking to find a male role model for me, which ended up being a couple of her brothers and my godfather. And they instilled in me how to be a mentor for young boys and young men, and how important that is. And so in seeing these boys here, 80% of our boys are raised in a single family home by a matriarch of some sort. So a good number of their dads are not present or maybe incarcerated. I know what not having a positive male role model in your life could possibly do. It could possibly have negative effects on these boys.
6th grade Sterling that walked in, you know, you come in and a kid that's raised in a single parent home with just me, my mom, and my sister, you never really have that male influence that you would, you know, necessarily want a kid growing up to have. That's the biggest thing, was being taught how to be, you know, a man for others, and how to, and that what it takes to, you know, reach that level of manhood that you want to reach someday. You never really have that example of, you know, this is what, you know, you should be doing. Those, you know, those years that I was here and even beyond were pretty much the foundation for who I am right now as a man. I think education's a mindset, you know. It's all about the environment and, you know, what the expectation is and not what you allow to just be the norm. You know, well, even the city, where typically there are a lot of kids that don't go to high school, let alone beyond that. This is a school here where you walk through the door and the question isn't, are you going to high school? It's where you're going to high school. And there are situations that are prepared to where when they walk around, the question is no longer asked, are you going to college? That's not a question of a Loyola man anymore. It's not, are you going to college? It's where you're going to college. You know, and that's that expectation, that knowledge to know that you can do it, no matter what situation or circumstance you come from, is key.
Well, we know that children who are growing up in homes that are under-resourced have fewer words spoken to them, have fewer books read to them. They enter the educational system already at a disadvantage. We see those disparities the day they walk into kindergarten. If we're going to address those things, we need interventions at early childhood, and there's reams of research on the need for that, but we need to continue to support children throughout their development. And not just with academics, but also given the complexity that these children bring to the school environment, we need to support them. We need to support the entire child. And that includes the kinds of social services, health and mental health supports. Children need the full complement of supports in order to be able to succeed, given the challenges that they bring with them into the school building.